The stones of our greatest monuments whisper secrets we are only just beginning to hear. These iconic structures are far more than beautiful architecture. They are complex puzzles, concealing coded messages, ancient warnings, and truths from civilizations long gone. By the end of our journey, you will possess the keys to unlock 25 of history's most guarded enigmas. We will explore why a massive Sphinx might be thousands of years older than we thought, and what mysterious power source could lie dormant inside the Great Pyramid. What forgotten story does your favorite monument long to tell? Its precise geometry is a language in itself, a code written in stone and celestial alignment. The Great Pyramid of Giza does not simply rest upon the earth, it mirrors it. The ratio of its perimeter to its original height equals exactly 2 pi, a fundamental constant of a circle, while its base dimensions correspond precisely to the planet's polar radius, scaled down by a factor of 43,200. This is not a coincidence, it is a deliberate act of encoding global knowledge into a single structure. Its 4 sides are aligned with the 4 cardinal directions with an accuracy of less than 1/15 of a degree, a feat of engineering that seems to defy its ancient origins. But the pyramid's conversation with the cosmos extends far beyond our world. Deep within its core, narrow shafts were built, not for ventilation but as sightlines to the heavens. These shafts point directly to specific stars central to Egyptian belief. One shaft targets the pole star of that era, Alpha Draconis, while another is locked onto the belt of the constellation Orion, the celestial representation of the god Osiris. This creates a perfect stellar map, a machine designed to guide a pharaoh's soul to the stars. Yet, this explanation is now fiercely debated. Why would a simple tomb require such complex astronomical and mathematical precision? Some researchers propose the pyramid was a massive energy generator, harnessing the Earth's natural vibrations. Its choice of materials, including crystalline granite, and its unique internal chambers suggest an understanding of resonance and power we are only now rediscovering. Others see it as a timeless message, a backup drive of human knowledge built to survive a global catastrophe. Was it a tomb, a power plant, or a warning carved in limestone? The sheer scale of its hidden code suggests its builders intended it to be far more than a final resting place, leaving a puzzle we are still desperately trying to solve. This Chamber of Kings holds an artifact that defies simple explanation. At its heart rests a massive granite box, often called the sarcophagus, yet it is far too large to fit through any of the pyramid's narrow passageways, meaning it was placed inside the chamber as the pyramid was being built around it. This was not a container added later, it was an integral part of the structure from the very beginning. The coffer itself is carved from a single, incredibly hard block of granite from a swan, a material so difficult to work with that it would have required tools far beyond simple copper chisels. Its surfaces are polished to a near-perfect flatness, with corners cut with astounding precision. If this box was not meant for a body, then what was its true purpose? The so-called air shafts add another layer to the puzzle. These narrow channels, only about 8 inches wide, do not actually provide air, they were sealed at both ends. Their true function appears to be celestial, pointing directly to the stars of Orion's belt and the northern pole star, acting as a cosmic guide for the soul. But even this spiritual explanation is challenged by the chamber's physical behavior. The king's chamber is built entirely from granite, a stone filled with microscopic quartz crystals. This material is piezoelectric, meaning it can generate an electrical charge under mechanical stress. When sound waves, perhaps from ritual chanting, moved through the room, they could have made the very walls vibrate. Engineers like Christopher Dunn propose this was not a tomb but a powerful, resonant machine. The entire chamber, with its specific dimensions and crystalline granite, may have been designed to vibrate at a specific frequency, harnessing energy from the earth itself. The coffer, perfectly positioned, might have acted as a resonant cavity, amplifying this energy for a purpose we can only guess at. Were the star shafts not just spiritual guides, but also wave guides for a form of energy we no longer understand? This room does not feel like a silent tomb, but the heart of a machine that has been still for millennia. But the pyramid's silent conversation is challenged by the roar of a nearby guardian. The Great Sphinx of Giza, that colossal lion with a human head, presents a mystery even more profound, one written not in celestial alignments but in the very stone itself. The conventional story tells us it was carved around 2500 BC for the pharaoh coffer, yet its body tells a different, much older tale. Geologists studying the monument have found deep, vertical fissures and undulating erosion patterns on the Sphinx and its enclosure walls. This type of weathering does not come from wind and sand. It is the unmistakable signature of heavy, prolonged rainfall, water cascading down its sides for centuries. The last time Egypt experienced a climate wet enough to cause such damage ended more than 7,000 years ago. This water erosion hypothesis suggests the Sphinx could be thousands of years older than we are told, a relic from a time before the deserts claimed the land, potentially built by a lost civilization whose name we no longer remember. This radical redating forces us to ask who or what the Sphinx originally represented. If it predates the pharaohs by millennia, its human head might be a recarving, a later pharaoh placing his own face upon a much older lion's body. What lost culture possessed the skill and vision to create such a monument, and what cataclysm did it survive? The mysteries only deepen beneath the surface. For centuries, legends and radar scans have pointed to a hidden world below the Sphinx. There are rumors of tunnels and chambers, inaccessible spaces that official excavations have never fully explored. The most compelling of these legends speaks of a hall of records, a secret library buried deep beneath the pores, said to contain the accumulated knowledge of a lost world, perhaps even Atlantis itself. This hidden archive is supposedly a time capsule, safeguarding advanced wisdom from a global catastrophe, waiting for the day we are ready to rediscover it. So we are left with a guardian that is itself a secret. Is the Sphinx an 8,000-year-old monument from a forgotten age, its body scarred by ancient rains? Does it sit atop the greatest library in human history, a vault of knowledge that could rewrite our past? The sands around it have concealed the truth for ages, but the stone continues to whisper, challenging everything we think we know about the dawn of civilization. That same whisper of forgotten knowledge echoes across the sea. In the quiet fields of England, Stonehenge stands as a silent circle of giants, a riddle carved from sarsen and bluestone. For centuries, it was seen as a primitive temple, but we now understand it as a sophisticated prehistoric computer, engineered to track the cosmos. Its primary function was as a massive agricultural and ceremonial clock, perfectly aligned with the sun's journey. At the heart of this system is the heel stone, a solitary sentinel placed outside the main circle. On the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, an observer standing at the center of the monument would see the sun rise directly over the tip of this massive stone, casting a long beam of light into the heart of the circle. This was not a vague symbol, it was a precise astronomical event. It marked a critical turning point in the year, signaling the time for planting, for celebration, and for rituals that ensured the community's survival. The entire layout is a complex calendar in stone, predicting solar and lunar cycles with staggering accuracy. But the mystery of Stonehenge is not only written in light, it is also felt in sound. The smaller blue stones, transported over an incredible 140 miles from Wales, hold a unique secret. When struck, these dolerite stones produce a deep, resonant, almost metallic chime. This is not a property found in local sarsen stones. Why would ancient builders go to such monumental effort to bring these specific rocks such a vast distance? The answer may lie in their acoustic properties. Researchers have found that the blue stones, when arranged in the circle, can create unique sonic vibrations. The theory suggests the circle acted as a massive amplifier, and the specific reverberations produced by striking the blue stones could have altered brainwave patterns, inducing states of heightened awareness or trance during ceremonies. Imagine the scene, the first rays of the solstice sun piercing the circle, while the air itself hums with a powerful, low-frequency tone. This was not merely a calendar, it was a multi-sensory temple designed to harmonize with the rhythms of the earth and the minds of its people. The builders of Stonehenge understood a profound connection between celestial order, the land, and human consciousness, encoding this wisdom into a symphony of stone and sound that we are only just beginning to hear. This same impulse to harmonize with cosmic order is etched into the white marble of the Athenian Acropolis. The Parthenon stands not merely as a beautiful ruin, but as a monument to a radical idea that true perfection must be engineered to deceive the human eye. Its beauty is a calculated illusion. To the viewer, the temple appears as a structure of perfect, rigid lines and right angles, yet there is not a single straight line in its entire construction. The architects Ictinos and Callicrates knew that perfectly straight lines would appear to sag to a person standing below. To correct this optical illusion, they introduced a series of subtle curves. The massive platform on which the Parthenon sits curves slightly upward in the middle. Each of its columns bulges gently outward, a technique called intosses, and all the columns lean inward just a fraction of a degree. These refinements are so slight you cannot consciously see them, but your brain registers the result, a building that looks impossibly straight, harmonious, and alive. This pursuit of visual perfection was guided by an invisible mathematical hand, the golden ratio. This ratio, approximately 1.618 to 1, appears repeatedly throughout nature, from the spiral of a nautilus shell to the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower. The Parthenon's designers encoded this divine proportion into every aspect of its frame. The ratio of the building's length to its width, the height of the facade to its width, even the spacing between the columns, all conform to this sacred geometry. They were not just building a temple to the goddess Athena, they were constructing a physical manifestation of cosmic balance, a prayer written in mathematics. This message of Athenian supremacy was carved directly into the stone for all to see. Wrapping around the outer wall of the temple's inner chamber is the Parthenon frieze, a 525-foot-long sculpted narrative. It depicts the Panathenaic procession, a grand festival held in the city to honor Athena. But this was far more than a simple religious scene. It is a powerful piece of political propaganda. The frieze shows a cavalcade of Athenian citizens, soldiers, musicians, and maidens, all moving in a dignified parade. By placing the people of Athens themselves on the temple of their patron goddess, the state was making a bold declaration. It communicated that the power and piety of Athens were one and the same, that its citizens were the living embodiment of divine favor and civic order. The entire structure, from its imperceptible curves to its mathematical proportions and its celebratory frieze, was a single, unified statement. It claimed that Athenian civilization was the human equivalent of the golden ratio, a perfect, rational, and God-approved order imposed upon a chaotic world. Far from the orderly geometry of the Parthenon, a different kind of message stands guard on the world's most isolated island. The massive stone heads of Easter Island have stared out from the cliffs for centuries, but we have only just begun to listen to what their buried bodies have to say. Recent excavations have revealed a startling truth. The moai are not merely heads. They are complete, towering figures with long torsos buried deep in the earth, and their backs are covered in intricate, mysterious petroglyphs. These are not random scratches, they are complex symbols, carvings of crescent shapes representing Polynesian canoes, and repeated figures of a deity known as the Birdman. These petroglyphs were never meant to be seen once the statue was erected. They were hidden messages facing the community, a secret language etched into the spines of their stone ancestors. This changes everything we thought we knew. The statues were not just passive monuments, they were active participants in the island's spiritual and physical life. But the stone carvings are only part of a larger, unreadable puzzle. The island also possesses the Rongorongo script, a unique system of glyphs found on wooden tablets. To this day, no one has been able to decipher it. It is one of the few writing systems in the world that was invented independently, and its meaning died with the last elders taking the island's full history with it. Some researchers believe these tablets contain creation chants and genealogies, the very soul of the Rapa Nui people locked away in an indecipherable code. Why would such a complex script emerge in total isolation, and what urgent knowledge were they trying to preserve? The most compelling theory links the Moai directly to survival. This remote island has no permanent rivers or streams. Freshwater is its most precious resource. Scientists have recently discovered that the island's groundwater flows naturally to the coast, seeping out of the ground right where the massive stone platforms called ahu were built. The statues were not placed arbitrarily. They are precise markers standing sentinel over the most vital freshwater springs. Each giant figure was a communal guidepost, silently declaring, "Here is life, here is water." The intricate petroglyphs on their backs facing the villages may have encoded specific information about the water source or the lineage group that controlled it. So the silent giants of Easter Island were not a foolish display of power that led to collapse. They were a brilliant stone-based survival system. They integrated ancestral worship with critical resource management, a durable, unmovable library of practical and spiritual knowledge. They are a warning and a lesson, a testament to a society that used its greatest artistic achievements not for vanity, but to write the message of survival directly onto the landscape itself. That same genius for encoding survival into stone echoes in the jungles of the Yucatan. The Maya Pyramid of El Castillo at Chichen Itza is a masterpiece of celestial engineering, a colossal stone calendar that marks the passage of time with breathtaking precision. Twice a year, during the spring and autumn equinoxes, a spectacular transformation occurs. As the sun sets, the stepped corners of the pyramid cast a series of triangular shadows down the balustrade of the main staircase. These shadows connect with stone serpent heads at the base, creating the undulating body of a massive, descending snake. This is the feathered serpent god Kukulkan, slithering down from the heavens to earth. For the Maya, this was not just a beautiful light show, it was the ultimate confirmation of cosmic order. It signaled the precise moments for planting and harvest, a divine directive for the entire agricultural cycle, ensuring the community would thrive for another season. But the pyramid's conversation with its worshippers did not end with the visual. Stand at the base of the grand staircase and clap your hands once. The sound does not return as a normal echo. Instead, it comes back as the distinct chirping cry of the Quetzal bird, an animal considered sacred and closely associated with the serpent god Kukulkan. This is no accident of acoustics. The pyramid's steep, stepped design acts as a sound filter, breaking the single clap into a rapid series of reflections that our ears perceive as a bird's call. It was an auditory miracle, a way for the pyramid to literally speak with the voice of the divine, answering human action with a sacred sound. Yet the true source of the pyramid's power may lie in what remains unseen. Deep beneath the stone structure lies a natural cenote, a massive water-filled sinkhole. For the Maya, cenotes were not just water sources, they were sacred portals to the underworld, the realm of the powerful rain god Chak. By constructing El Castillo directly over this hidden well, the Maya were physically and spiritually connecting their greatest monument to the divine forces of water and life. The entire structure, from the descending serpent of light to the echoing bird call and its foundation in sacred water, was a single, integrated system. It was a bridge between the human world, the cosmos, and the underworld, a machine designed to maintain the balance of nature itself through ritual, astronomy, and engineering. While the Maya harmonized with nature, the Romans sought to command it. Beneath the sun-bleached sand of the Colosseum's arena floor lay a hidden world of absolute control, the hypogeum. This was not merely a basement, it was a backstage engine of spectacle, a labyrinth of tunnels, ramps, and cages where gladiators, prisoners, and wild animals awaited their fate. Its true message was one of ultimate Roman authority, a demonstration that they could orchestrate nature itself for public entertainment. Using a system of ropes, pulleys, and counterweights, complex elevators could hoist caged beasts, elaborate scenery, and even fighters directly up through trapdoors, making them appear on the arena floor as if by magic. This engineering marvel allowed for seamless, dramatic reveals, turning a simple battle into a theatrical epic. It was a brutal statement of power, showing that Rome could bend the chaotic forces of the wild and the desperation of men to its will, all for the delight of the crowd. That same obsession with order extended to the audience. The Colosseum was a masterclass in social engineering. Its numbered entrances, known as vomitoria for how they efficiently spewed thousands of spectators in and out of their seats, were a logistical triumph. Every ticket holder, from the highest senator to the lowest commoner, knew exactly which archway to use to reach their assigned tier. This meticulous organization prevented chaos and reinforced the rigid class structure of Roman society. The very act of entering the amphitheater was a lesson in one's place in the empire. But beyond the grand spectacle and social hierarchy, the stone walls hold quieter, more human secrets. Scattered throughout the passageways, archaeologists have discovered ancient graffiti. These are not the grand inscriptions of emperors, but the personal marks of the people who lived and worked there. A crudely carved gladiator's name, a sketched ship by a merchant hoping for good fortune, a simple game board scratched into a step where a guard once waited. These faint scratches are the hidden messages of the ordinary Roman, fleeting glimpses of individual lives played out in the shadow of the empire's greatest stage. They remind us that this stone giant was more than a machine of death and control. It was a living, breathing part of a city, its walls a silent diary of the hopes, boredom, and fears of the people who made it pulse with life. While Rome orchestrated its spectacles, a different kind of stage was being carved from a desert canyon. The rose-red city of Petra conceals its grandest deception in plain sight. Al-Khosneh, the treasury, is not a treasury at all. Its name comes from a local legend that an Egyptian pharaoh hid his treasure in the stone urn at its very top, a belief so persistent that the urn still bears the bullet marks of Bedouin sharpshooters trying to shatter it and release the imagined gold. In reality, this breathtaking facade, hewn directly from the living rock, was a monumental tomb for a Nabatean king. But even that royal function is only the beginning of the story. Recent archaeological findings suggest it may have also served as a temple, a place of ritual and worship for the cult of the dead king, and perhaps even a royal archive safeguarding sacred texts and scrolls. Its true purpose was layered, as complex as the stone from which it was born. Every inch of its towering facade is a coded message. Look closely at the carvings and you will see a visual language of global power. Hellenistic gods like the Dioscuri stand beside Egyptian goddesses like Isis, while winged sphinxes and Assyrian-style griffins guard the upper levels. This was not a random collection of decorative motifs. The Nabateans were master traders, controlling the lucrative incense routes that connected the ancient world. Their great city was a crossroads of cultures, and the treasury's design was a deliberate statement. It told every caravan master, diplomat, and traveler who approached that this was a cosmopolitan power, a kingdom that understood and absorbed the symbols of every civilization with which it traded. It projected an image of sophisticated, worldly authority, assuring visitors that they were dealing with an equal to the great empires. The greatest secrets, however, do not stand in the sun but lie buried beneath it. Advanced ground-penetrating radar and LiDAR technology have recently peeled back the desert sands to reveal a stunning truth. The iconic, isolated facade we see today was not always alone. The area in front of the treasury was not an empty courtyard but a grand paved plaza surrounded by elaborate gardens, monumental stairways, and a vast colonnaded structure. The entire approach was designed as a ceremonial processional way, building anticipation and framing the treasury as the grand finale of a massive architectural complex. These hidden foundations force us to reanimate the scene not as a single building in a canyon, but as the vibrant, bustling heart of a sophisticated urban center. The treasury was never meant to be seen in isolation. It was the dazzling centerpiece of a much larger stage, a testament to a kingdom whose true scale and ambition have been hidden by time and sand for nearly 2,000 years. The intricate carvings of Petra's cosmopolitan facade find an echo in a far grander scale of storytelling. Across the continent, the vast stone canvases of Angkor Wat unfold entire universes in breathtaking bas-relief. Stretching for hundreds of feet along the temple's outer gallery walls, these intricate panels are not mere decoration, they are a sacred library carved in sandstone. Here, you can walk alongside the gods and demons of Hindu epics, witnessing the cosmic churning of the ocean of milk from the Ramayana, or the immense, sprawling battle of Kurukshetra from the Mahabharata. Every figure, every chariot, and every celestial being is rendered with such detail that the stone seems to breathe, turning myth into a tangible, walkable history. But this narrative grandeur is only the surface layer of a much deeper design. The entire temple complex is a staggering architectural metaphor, a perfect microcosm of the Hindu cosmos. Its defining feature, the 5 majestic central towers, does not represent a king's palace, but the sacred Mount Meru, the axis of the universe and the home of the gods. The surrounding walls and moats symbolize the mountain ranges and the cosmic ocean that encircle the world. To walk through Angkor Wat is to traverse a map of divine creation, a spiritual journey encoded in stone and water. This ancient symbolism has been powerfully reclaimed by the modern world. Today, the unmistakable silhouette of Angkor Wat's central towers stands proudly at the center of Cambodia's national flag. It is a profound message of endurance, transforming the temple from a relic of a fallen empire into a living symbol of national identity and resilience. It declares that the spirit of a people can outlast kingdoms and survive the most turbulent histories. And just as we thought we understood its scale, new technology has revealed that we have been seeing only a fraction of Angkor's true glory. Using advanced ground-penetrating radar, archaeologists have recently peeled back the jungle canopy to discover a massive, previously unknown urban complex sprawling around the temple. This was not just a ceremonial center, but the heart of a vast, low-density metropolis, a sophisticated network of roads, canals, and dwellings that would have been one of the largest pre-industrial cities in the world. The iconic temple we see today was merely the dazzling core of a lost civilization whose true breadth and ambition have been hidden beneath the forest for centuries, waiting for the right moment to be read. High in the Andes, the stones of Machu Picchu cling to a mountain ridge, a city in perfect conversation with the sky. This was not a random fortress, but a celestial sanctuary, and its most profound secret rests with the Intihuatana stone. Carved from a single piece of bedrock, this granite pillar is a masterpiece of precision, its angles and planes engineered to track the sun's journey with astonishing accuracy. Its name translates to the hitching post of the sun, and during the equinoxes, the sun sits directly atop the pillar, casting no shadow at all. It was the ultimate solar clock, a device that allowed Inca priests to mark the solstices and equinoxes, dictating the sacred calendar for planting, harvest, and rituals that bound the community to the cosmos. The entire city amplifies this celestial design. Key structures are positioned to capture the sun's light at specific moments, During the summer solstice, the sun rises through a strategically placed window in the Temple of the Sun, illuminating a ceremonial stone within. At the winter solstice, it aligns with another sacred rock. Machu Picchu is a sprawling stone dial with the sun itself as its moving hand. Yet this alignment with the heavens is matched by a hidden genius for stability here on Earth. The Inca built their sky city in one of the most seismically active regions on the planet. Their solution was a hidden message of engineering brilliance. Instead of fighting the mountain's movement, they designed their structures to dance with it. The foundations of monumental buildings are constructed with ashlar masonry, where giant stones are cut to fit together without mortar. These blocks are not stacked rigidly, they are locked in a dynamic puzzle. When an earthquake strikes, the stones in these walls bounce, shift, and then settle back into place rather than cracking and collapsing. Doorways and windows are trapezoidal, a shape far more resistant to seismic shock than rectangles. The entire city is a lesson in anti-seismic design, a testament to an understanding of geology and physics that allowed their sacred city to endure for centuries where modern construction might fail. Machu Picchu's message is one of harmony, a dual mastery of the celestial and the terrestrial, proving that true strength lies not in defying nature but in moving with its rhythms. While the Inca mastered the mountain, another empire carved a poem of pure white marble. The Taj Mahal rises from the banks of the Yamuna River not merely as a tomb, but as a perfect architectural representation of paradise. It was built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan as an eternal testament to his love for his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Yet woven into its breathtaking beauty are layers of profound symbolism and ingenious engineering, each element a carefully coded message. The entire complex is designed as a replica of the Islamic Garden of Paradise, with the central mausoleum representing the throne of God. The reflecting pool, the charbog or four gardens divided by water channels, all symbolize the rivers of milk, honey, wine, and water described in the Quran. This was not just a memorial, it was a promise of divine reunion in the afterlife. That promise is protected by a brilliant optical trick, one designed to outsmart nature itself. Look closely at the four elegant minarets that frame the main structure. They do not stand perfectly vertical. Each one tilts ever so slightly outward, leaning away from the central dome. This was a deliberate and sophisticated safeguard against earthquakes. In the event of a catastrophic tremor, the minarets would fall away from the precious marble dome, protecting the heart of the monument from destruction. It is a message of enduring love, engineered to survive the very forces of the planet. Every inch of the white marble is a canvas for hidden artistry. The intricate calligraphy that frames the Great Iwan or archway appears perfectly uniform to the eye, but the script is a masterful deception. As the Quranic verses ascend toward the sky, the letters gradually increase in size. From the ground, this counteracts the effects of perspective, ensuring that the text looks consistent and legible from the viewer's vantage point far below. The artisans understood the mathematics of human perception, encoding their sacred texts in a way that only a divine eye or a perfectly informed one could fully appreciate. This world of white marble is also shadowed by a tantalizing myth of black. Legend whispers that Shah Jahan planned a mirror image of the Taj Mahal across the river, this time built from black marble as his own final resting place. The two structures would have been eternally linked by a silver bridge, a symbol of love transcending even death. While historians have found no evidence of its construction, the myth persists, a ghostly counterpart to one of the world's most famous monuments, a testament to the story's powerful hold on our imagination. Beneath the main chamber lie sealed, unadorned crypts where the emperor and his wife are actually buried, their bodies placed in accordance with Islamic tradition in a simpler, more direct connection to the earth. But rumors have swirled for centuries about other, more secret chambers hidden within the platform, rooms that might contain everything from royal treasures to lost architectural plans. These sealed spaces ensure that the Taj Mahal, for all its luminous beauty, retains a final, impenetrable layer of mystery, guarding its deepest secrets as faithfully as it has guarded a love story for the ages. The same earth that supports our grandest monuments can also betray them. The Leaning Tower of Pisa stands not as a testament to perfect engineering, but to human fallibility and our enduring determination to correct our mistakes. Its famous tilt was an accident of geology, a hidden flaw in the very ground it was built upon. The tower's foundation rests on a fragile, unstable mix of soft clay, fine sand, and shells, a subsurface that compressed unevenly almost as soon as construction began in the 12th century. The lean was not part of the design. It was a slow-motion disaster that unfolded over centuries, a visible struggle between human ambition and the shifting earth. For generations, architects tried to compensate for the growing tilt, building the upper floors with one side slightly taller than the other in a desperate attempt to straighten the structure. This only added more weight, making the problem worse. The tower became a lesson in humility, a permanent reminder that our greatest creations are always at the mercy of the natural world. Yet this story of error is also one of incredible resilience. For decades, the tower crept closer to collapse, leaning at an alarming 5.5 degrees. An international team of engineers undertook a monumental rescue effort. They carefully removed small amounts of soil from beneath the raised side of the foundation, allowing the tower to slowly, painstakingly settle back toward safety. This delicate process, a masterpiece of modern geoengineering, stabilized the structure and reduced its lean, essentially saving it from itself. The hidden message of the Leaning Tower is not its flaw, but the centuries of human ingenuity dedicated to preserving that flaw. This iconic tilt also provided the stage for a pivotal moment in scientific history. It is here that the scholar Galileo Galilei is said to have conducted his legendary experiments on gravity. He allegedly dropped two spheres of different masses from the tower's high balcony, demonstrating that they hit the ground at the same time, disproving the ancient belief that heavier objects fall faster. Whether the event happened precisely as the story tells or not, the tower's lean created a perfect real-world laboratory, a vertical plane against which the constants of physics could be tested and observed. So the Leaning Tower of Pisa whispers a dual truth. It is a monument to a foundational error, but also to the scientific curiosity and relentless engineering that such an error can inspire. It teaches us that our stumbles can become our most enduring lessons, and that sometimes the most profound beauty lies not in perfection, but in the graceful, stubborn act of not falling down. High in the Bavarian Alps, a castle of pure fantasy seems to grow directly from the cliffside. Neuschwanstein Castle is not a medieval fortress, but a 19th-century monument to one man's desperate escape from reality. Its soaring white towers and romantic turrets were the creation of King Ludwig II, a monarch who rejected the political machinations of his time to build a world entirely of his own making. He poured his personal fortune into creating a living storybook, but the castle's walls tell a story far deeper than any fairy tale. Step inside the throne room and you will find no throne. The space was left empty, a stark symbol of Ludwig's retreat from the duties of kingship. Instead of maps of his kingdom, the walls are covered in breathtaking murals depicting the epic romances and tragedies of Wagnerian opera, from the Knight Lohengrin to the Grail quest of Parsifal. This was not mere decoration, it was Ludwig's manifesto. He was using these legends to declare that the world of myth and art was more real and more valuable to him than the rising power of Prussia or the demands of his own government. He built a kingdom of the imagination, ruling not from a political throne, but from a castle in the clouds. Yet behind this medieval fantasy lay a hidden world of cutting-edge technology. While the exterior mimicked an ancient German fortress, the interior was a modern marvel. Neuschwanstein was one of the first residential castles in Europe to have a central heating system, with air vents cleverly disguised within the ornate woodwork. It boasted running water on every floor, with toilets equipped with an automatic flushing system and even a telephone line. The king, who presented himself as a devotee of a chivalric past, secretly embraced every modern convenience, hiding the machinery of the industrial age behind a facade of timeless romance. This breathtaking fusion of fantasy and function did not fade with Ludwig's mysterious death. Its most enduring legacy is one seen by millions around the world. The castle's iconic silhouette became the direct inspiration for Disney's Sleeping Beauty castle, the centerpiece of the original Disneyland. Walt Disney himself was captivated by its romantic vision, translating Ludwig's personal escape into a universal symbol of wonder and happily ever after. So the castle on the hill is more than stone and mortar. It is a permanent monument to the power of dreams, a place where one king's refusal to face reality ultimately created a new reality for generations to come. Her torch is a universal symbol of freedom, but the Statue of Liberty's most powerful messages are carved in the details most people never see. Look down at her feet. Beneath the flowing robes, her right foot is lifted, and crushed beneath it are the broken chains of tyranny and oppression. This was a deliberate, radical statement by the French abolitionist sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. At a time when the United States was still reckoning with the aftermath of the Civil War, the statue was conceived not just as a celebration of independence, but as a monument to the abolition of slavery. The broken chains, often invisible in photographs taken from the ground, are her foundational truth, a declaration that true liberty must be built upon the defeat of bondage. Every element of her design is a numerical code. The 7 rays emanating from her crown do not simply form a halo. They represent the 7 continents and the 7 seas, a message of liberty radiating across the entire globe, uniting all of humanity. Look closer at the crown itself, and you will find 25 windows. These are said to symbolize earthly gemstones and the heavens' rays of light, a fusion of the celestial and the terrestrial, suggesting that freedom is both a worldly treasure and a divine right. Yet the statue's most famous message was not part of the original design. For years, she stood in New York Harbor without a definitive voice. That changed with a poem. Emma Lazarus penned the new Colossus in 1883 to raise funds for the pedestal, and its words were later engraved on a bronze plaque inside that base. The lines, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," fundamentally transformed the statue's meaning. She was no longer just a gift celebrating Franco-American friendship or political liberty. She became the mother of exiles, a specific, compassionate beacon of hope for millions of immigrants arriving by ship. The statue's silent, powerful imagery of broken chains was now paired with a vocal, open-armed invitation. This fusion of visual and poetic symbolism turned copper and steel into one of history's most profound and enduring promises. That same promise of liberty carved in copper stands in stark contrast to a monument blasted into a sacred mountain. Mount Rushmore's granite faces project an image of unwavering national unity, but the mountain itself holds a far more conflicted story. The Black Hills of South Dakota are the sacred heart of the Lakota Sioux, land guaranteed to them by treaty before it was seized by the United States government. The monument built on this contested ground cannot be separated from that painful history. Its very existence is a message of American expansionism, a declaration of dominion carved into a stolen landscape. The sculptor Gutzon Borglum envisioned a far grander tribute. His original design called for the 4 presidents to be depicted down to their waists, complete with coats and lapels, a colossal portrait gallery of the nation's founders. This ambitious plan was abandoned due to cost and the sheer difficulty of the work, leaving us with the iconic busts we see today. But Borglum's grandest vision was meant to be hidden from view entirely. Deep within the canyon behind Abraham Lincoln's head, he began carving a secret chamber, a vault intended to be the Hall of Records. His plan was to preserve the most important documents of American democracy, like the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, inside a grand, protected room accessible by an 800-foot staircase. This project, too, was left unfinished, a sealed cavity holding only a porcelain tablet inscribed with the monument's history, placed there by his family decades later. This hidden, incomplete archive creates a powerful paradox. The public face of Mount Rushmore celebrates a triumphant national narrative, while its concealed chamber is a silent, unfinished testament to the fragility of that very story, a time capsule meant to outlast a civilization that might one day need to rebuild. Today, the monument stands at the center of an ongoing and vital dialogue. For many, it is a symbol of presidential greatness and national achievement. For the Lakota and their allies, it is a perpetual reminder of broken promises and cultural erasure, a desecration they have named the Six Grandfathers. This ongoing conversation is itself a hidden message, etched not in stone but in the national conscience, forcing us to confront the complex and often painful truths behind our most iconic symbols. The mountain does not offer easy answers, only the enduring question of whose story gets to be carved in granite and whose is written in the land itself. The island's silent giants were born from the volcanic rock of a single sacred mountain. Ronoroku is not just a quarry, it is the womb of the Moai, a grassy amphitheater where hundreds of stone figures remain frozen in the very act of being born. Here, the story of a society's ambition and its sudden halt is written directly into the mountainside. The largest of them all, a colossus known as El Gigante, lies unfinished, still fused to the bedrock. It stretches nearly 72 feet long and would have weighed an estimated 270 tons, a scale so immense it defies comprehension. Its presence tells a story not of patient creation but of a project abruptly abandoned. Why would a culture capable of such a staggering feat simply walk away from its greatest work? The answer seems carved all around it. Dozens of other moai in various stages of completion dot the slope, some little more than outlines, others nearly ready to be detached and moved. It is a snapshot of a civilization frozen in time, suggesting a sudden and catastrophic interruption, perhaps the ecological collapse or social upheaval that legends describe. But these statues are more than just faces, they are canvases. As you move closer, intricate petroglyphs appear on their backs and sides, carvings that were hidden once the moai were placed on their distant platforms. You can see the crescent shapes of Polynesian canoes, voyaging symbols of their ancestral past. Most compelling are the repeated figures of a creature with a human body and a bird's head. This is the Tangata Monu, or birdman, a central figure in a radical cultural shift that occurred on the island. After the era of the moai carving ceased, a new cult arose, centered not on ancestral chiefs embodied in stone, but on an annual, dangerous competition. Tribal leaders would select champions to swim through shark-infested waters to a distant islet, Motu Nui, to retrieve the first egg laid by a sooty tern. The winner's patron would then be declared the birdman, the island's spiritual and political leader for the year. These carvings, etched onto the older, ancestral moai, are a powerful clue. They suggest that the society did not simply vanish, it transformed. The old ways of erecting massive statues gave way to a new, perhaps more sustainable, form of ritual leadership. The quarry, therefore, holds a dual message. It shows the breathtaking scale of their initial ambition, a society confident enough to carve a 270-ton giant, but it also preserves the moment that ambition shattered, giving way to a new belief system etched directly onto the symbols of the old. This mountain is a layered history book, its pages written in volcanic tuff and intricate symbols, telling a story of rise, fall, and profound change. While the stone giants of Rapa Nui speak of survival, a palace in Spain whispers of paradise perfected. The Alhambra's walls are a symphony in stone, tile, and water, where every pattern is a profound theological statement. The breathtakingly intricate geometric designs that cover its surfaces are far more than decoration. They are a visual representation of the infinite. In Islamic art, the depiction of living beings was often avoided to prevent idolatry, so artists turned to geometry to express the divine. These complex, repeating patterns of stars, polygons, and interlacing lines have no beginning and no end. As your eye tries to follow a single line, it seamlessly transforms and connects to the whole, creating an unbreakable cycle. This was a deliberate code, a way to illustrate the boundless and eternal nature of God, a universe of perfect, repeating order emerging from a single, unifying source. It is mathematics made spiritual, a silent prayer of infinity carved into plaster and wood. Woven directly into these geometric tapestries are the palace's more literal voices, its poetic inscriptions. Elegant Arabic calligraphy curls across arches and frames doorways, not as random phrases, but as a continuous poetic narrative praising the Nasrid Sultan, describing the very beauty of the rooms you stand in. One famous inscription on the walls of the Hall of the Two Sisters reads, "I am a garden adorned with beauty. Gaze at my splendor and you will know my nobility." The poem does not just describe the room, it becomes the room, speaking in the first person. The architecture itself declares its own majesty, blurring the line between built structure and living verse. This fusion of art and word was a powerful political tool, reinforcing the Sultan's wisdom and divine right to rule, making his authority an inseparable part of the palace's sacred geometry. But this celestial beauty was grounded in earthly genius. To sustain the lush gardens and murmuring fountains that made this complex a true earthly paradise, the architects performed a miracle of hydraulic engineering. They constructed a sophisticated system of canals, aqueducts, and underground pipes that channeled fresh water from the Darro River high in the Sierra Nevada mountains. This water was then distributed with precise control through a network of acequias or irrigation channels, feeding every courtyard, garden, and fountain. The gentle, continuous sound of flowing water was not just for ambience, it was a hidden message of absolute mastery over the environment, a demonstration that the Sultan's power could command the most precious resource in an arid land and transform a fortified hill into a blooming oasis. The Alhambra was therefore a complete sensory and philosophical experience, its hidden messages layered in the infinite patterns of its tiles, the self-referential poetry of its walls, and the life-giving water that animated it all, a testament to a civilization that saw no division between science, art, and the divine. Within the heart of Beijing lies a city within a city, a sprawling complex of nearly 1,000 buildings where every brick and beam was designed according to a cosmic blueprint. The Forbidden City is far more than an imperial palace. It is a physical model of the universe as understood by ancient Chinese philosophy. Its entire layout is a profound statement of the emperor's divine mandate, his role as the crucial link between heaven and earth. At the center of this celestial map sits the emperor himself. His private quarters, the Palace of Heavenly Purity, were deliberately positioned to represent the pole star, the unmoving, eternal center of the heavens around which all other stars revolve. The surrounding halls, temples, and administrative buildings are not placed randomly. They are arranged in precise clusters to mirror the specific constellations that circle the celestial pole. To walk from the outer courts to the inner sanctums was to traverse a map of the cosmos, moving closer to the very axis of existence. This heavenly authority is encoded even in the smallest details, most powerfully in the number 9. In Chinese cosmology, 9 is the ultimate Yong number associated with the emperor and the heavens. You can see its symbolic power everywhere. The massive gates are studded with 81 brass door studs arranged in 9 rows of 9. The number of mythical stone creatures lining the upturned roofs of the most important halls always ascends to 9, with the immortal roof rider completing the sacred set. These were not arbitrary decorations, they were a constant, visible reinforcement of the emperor's supreme and singular status, a numerical code declaring his heavenly right to rule. Yet this cosmic vision was supported by an earthly genius that has proven just as enduring. While the philosophy pointed to the heavens, the engineering was firmly grounded in a mastery of water. The entire complex is supported by a hidden, 600-year-old drainage system of such sophistication that it has kept the palace dry through centuries of heavy rains. The grounds were carefully graded to create a subtle slope, guiding water naturally toward a network of underground channels and moats. The foundation itself is a marvel, constructed from layers of stone and brick that act like a giant sponge, absorbing and redirecting moisture away from the precious wooden structures above. This hidden infrastructure reveals a profound truth. The emperor's celestial mandate depended entirely on a very practical, earthly stability. The Forbidden City stands as a perfect fusion of cosmic ambition and meticulous engineering, a place where the order of the heavens was made manifest on earth, and where that vision was protected by a genius for controlling the most fundamental force of nature. Moscow's Red Square holds a monument that looks less like a building and more like a frozen firework display of color and form. St. Basil's Cathedral, with its 9 vibrant chapels clustered around a central spire, seems to defy all architectural logic, a chaotic dream spun from brick and ceramic tile. The popular myth claims each dome represents one of the 8 leaders defeated during Ivan the Terrible's capture of Kazan, but the truth is a more complex map of military conquest. There are 9 distinct chapels, and each one was consecrated to honor a different saint on whose feast day Ivan won a crucial battle in his Kazan campaign. The entire structure is a coded calendar of victory, a spiritual ledger of a brutal war where every dome and every chapel corresponds to a specific date and a specific triumph. This was not just a church, it was Ivan's personal war memorial, a permanent declaration of his divine right to rule, stamped onto the skyline of his capital. Such a singular vision could never be replicated, and a dark legend persists about how Ivan ensured it. The story goes that upon the cathedral's completion, the Tsar was so overcome by its beauty that he asked the architects Postnik and Barmer if they could ever build anything more magnificent. When they proudly answered yes, Ivan allegedly had them blinded, ensuring the cathedral would remain one of a kind. While historians find no evidence for this gruesome tale, its persistence speaks volumes. It captures the terrifying nature of Ivan's power and the cathedral's perceived perfection, a masterpiece so complete that its creators had to be sacrificed to its glory. It cemented the building's status not just as a national symbol, but as an untouchable work of art born from absolute tyranny. The secret to achieving these impossible shapes lies hidden beneath the festive exterior. Those swirling, onion-shaped domes and tented spires were not sculpted from solid stone. The architects used a clever, concealed skeleton of wooden frames and flexible brickwork to create the fluid, organic forms that appear so weightless. This innovative use of a wooden armature within a brick shell was a revolutionary technique, allowing for an unprecedented plasticity in design. It was a structural deception, a hidden message of engineering ingenuity that made the architectural fantasy possible. The cathedral's seemingly chaotic beauty is in fact a carefully engineered illusion, a dance between sturdy brick and supple wood that has allowed it to stand for centuries. Each bulbous dome, painted in dazzling patterns, becomes a chapter in a visual storybook of conquest, its very form a testament to the brutal ambition and startling creativity of the man who commanded it. While Moscow's cathedral reaches for the heavens, a different kind of colossus in China carved its message directly into the earth. the Leshan giant Buddha sits with a stillness that belies its true purpose, a 71-meter-tall sentinel hewn from a cliff face overlooking the violent confluence of 3 rivers. For centuries, these waters swirled with deadly currents, claiming countless boats and lives. A Buddhist monk named Haitong vowed to tame them not with a dam but with a statue. He believed that the spiritual presence of a colossal Buddha would calm the river spirits and protect those who traveled there. This was not just an act of faith, it was a monumental declaration of spiritual power over the raw chaos of nature. Its construction, beginning in the 8th century, was an act of engineering so immense it took 90 years to complete. The true genius of this stone giant, however, is hidden in plain sight. The Buddha's coiled hair is not merely a stylistic choice, it is a sophisticated water management system. Carved directly into the stone buns are hundreds of discrete channels and drains. During heavy rains, water is channeled away from the face, flowing through these hidden grooves, down the back of the head and shoulders, and out through cleverly designed exits in the statue's robes, preventing the destructive erosion that would have otherwise worn the features away over centuries. This intricate drainage was the secret to its longevity, a message of practical wisdom woven into its sacred form. The builders understood that to project spiritual power for millennia, they first had to master the physics of water. And the surprises did not end with the drainage system. Recent explorations of the cliffs surrounding the giant have revealed a network of forgotten caves, long sealed by vegetation and debris. Inside, archaeologists have found a hidden galaxy of smaller, exquisitely carved Buddha statues and faded inscriptions, a secret spiritual court surrounding its king. These findings suggest the entire mountainside was a vast religious complex, with the great statue as its luminous centerpiece. The Leshan giant Buddha, therefore, whispers a dual truth. Its serene face promises spiritual dominion over nature, while its ingeniously carved body reveals the profound engineering required to make that promise last, a perfect fusion of faith and function carved into the living rock. The precise geometry of Teotihuacan is a star map written onto the valley floor. This city of the gods, built by a people whose true name is lost to us, was laid out not just for ceremony, but as a perfect terrestrial reflection of the heavens. The entire metropolis is oriented along the Avenue of the Dead, a broad central causeway that runs not due north but 15.5 degrees east of north. This precise orientation was not arbitrary. It directly targeted the Pleiades star cluster, known to the Maya as the rattlesnake, as it set on the horizon. The Pyramid of the Sun itself, a massive structure of nearly 3 million tons of adobe brick, is positioned so that its western face points to the precise setting point of the Pleiades on the day the cluster passes directly overhead. For the builders, this alignment was profoundly significant, linking the city's central axis to a celestial event that marked the beginning and end of critical agricultural cycles. The Pyramid of the Moon at the northern terminus of the avenue completes this cosmic conversation, framing the sacred landscape between earth and sky. But the city's celestial code may run deeper still. When you overlay the positions of the pyramids and major structures onto a map of our solar system, a stunning correlation emerges. The distances between the structures appear to mirror the relative distances between the Sun and the planets. The Pyramid of the Sun takes the place of our Sun, while other mounds and ruins correspond with startling accuracy to the orbits of the inner planets, the asteroid belt, and even the gas giants. This suggests the builders possessed an advanced, perhaps symbolic, understanding of our cosmic neighborhood, encoding it into the very footprint of their holy city. Yet the greatest secrets of Teotihuacan are not found in its grand plazas, but deep underground. Beneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, archaeologists discovered a labyrinth of tunnels sealed for over 2,000 years. Within these sacred chambers, they found something that defied all expectation: pools of shimmering liquid mercury. In the ancient world, this substance was incredibly rare and difficult to produce. It had no practical use as a tool or weapon. Its presence here, alongside massive sheets of the mineral mica transported from thousands of miles away, points to a profound ritual purpose. Mercury, with its liquid, mirror-like surface, may have represented a portal to the underworld, a river to the realm of the gods. Mica, a mineral that can withstand immense heat and is an electrical insulator, might have been used to create a sacred, protected space, perhaps to channel energies we no longer comprehend. These materials were not mere offerings, they were functional components in a spiritual technology, tools used to bridge the world of the living with the world of the gods and the cosmos above. Teotihuacan stands as a triple-layered enigma, a city whose streets mirror the stars, whose scale models the solar system, and whose foundations conceal elements of a lost and mysterious science. High above Rio de Janeiro, the outstretched arms of Christ the Redeemer embrace the city in a symbol of peace known around the world. Yet this modern wonder is far more than a religious icon. It is a hidden monument to international cooperation. Its distinct Art Deco style, with clean, flowing lines and a simplified form, was a deliberate product of the 1920s, a statement of modernity and progress. This global vision was physically built through a unique partnership between a French sculptor, Paul Landowski, who designed and created the statue in pieces, and a Brazilian engineer, Rita da Silva Costa, who oversaw its construction and devised the ingenious outer shell of soapstone tiles. This collaboration wove together European artistry and Brazilian ingenuity, a message of unity literally cemented into the mountain. Tucked away within the massive pedestal that supports the statue lies a quiet secret, a small but beautiful chapel dedicated to Our Lady of Aparecida, the patron saint of Brazil. This hidden sanctuary was integrated directly into the base, allowing for baptisms, weddings, and quiet reflection. While the towering Christ above speaks to the world, this chapel below offers a more intimate message of faith and community, a sacred heart beating within the monument's foundation. Protecting this global symbol required foresight that remains unseen. The statue's iconic head is crowned with a ring of discrete lightning rods, a necessary defense in a city known for its dramatic electrical storms. These rods are seamlessly integrated into the design, a hidden system of modern protection ensuring that this message of peace endures the forces of nature itself. More than any hidden chamber, its most powerful message is its role as a universal cultural emblem. It has become the definitive symbol of Brazilian identity, a point of national pride that transcends its Christian origins to represent the warmth and openness of the people. Its silhouette is instantly recognizable, a global shorthand for Rio itself, and its open arms offer a silent, enduring plea for global unity, making it one of the few modern structures to hold a place among history's most message-laden monuments. Even the most formidable barrier can be a channel for communication. The Great Wall of China stretches across mountains and deserts as a symbol of imperial power, but its true genius lies in the hidden messages embedded in its very substance. The mortar that binds its ancient stones holds a culinary secret. Builders during the Ming Dynasty perfected an incredibly durable recipe by mixing standard lime mortar with a surprising ingredient, sticky rice flour. This porridge-like mixture created a composite with exceptional strength and water resistance, a biocement so effective that it has helped sections of the wall endure for more than 600 years. The choice of a precious food staple was a profound statement, revealing that the empire considered the wall's permanence vital enough to consume part of its food supply, baking resilience directly into the stone. This silent, enduring strength was matched by a system designed for instantaneous speech. Snaking along the wall's highest points are the beacon towers, a sophisticated communication network that could relay a message across the empire in a single day. This was not a simple bonfire. The system operated on a complex code of smoke signals during the day and fire beacons at night. A single column of smoke might signal the approach of a small force, while multiple columns indicated a large invading army. The speed of this visual telegraph was breathtaking, capable of transmitting information over 500 kilometers in just 24 hours, a feat unmatched until the invention of the telegraph. Yet the wall's path was not dictated by military strategy alone. Its winding course over impossibly rugged terrain was also guided by the principles of Feng Shui, the ancient practice of spiritual geomancy. Master planners sought harmony between the human world and the natural landscape, aligning the wall with the dragon lines or energy currents believed to flow through the earth. Constructing a section along a particular mountain ridge was as much about tapping into positive spiritual energy as it was about gaining a defensive vantage point. This fusion of the practical and the spiritual transformed the wall from a mere fortification into a living entity, its spine carefully placed to balance the forces of the cosmos while its towers spoke with fire and its stones were fortified with the very food of life. A single building in Istanbul holds two heavens in its heart. The Hagia Sophia is a living parchment, its walls inscribed and reinscribed by empires and faiths. For nearly 1,000 years it stood as the grandest cathedral in all of Christendom, the spiritual center of the Byzantine Empire. Its defining feature was a dome of such audacious scale and engineering that it appeared to float, suspended from the heavens by a golden chain. This was no optical illusion, but a deliberate theological message. The architects designed a ring of 40 windows at the dome's base, allowing light to pour in and illuminate the gilded mosaics within. From the floor below, the solid masonry seemed to vanish, leaving the dome to hover on a circle of pure, ethereal light, a perfect architectural representation of the divine firmament. It was a space designed to make the worshipper feel they were standing directly beneath the throne of God. This Christian vision, however, was not destined to last forever. In the 15th century, the city fell and the great cathedral was transformed into a mosque. The new custodians faced a theological dilemma: what to do with the magnificent figural mosaics of Christ, the Virgin Mary, and the saints that covered the walls. Their solution was not destruction but concealment. Layer by layer, these breathtaking images were carefully covered with white plaster, preserving them for centuries beneath a blank slate. In their place, a new form of sacred art arose. Massive black calligraphic roundels were hung high on the pillars, bearing the names of Allah, the Prophet Muhammad, and the first caliphs. These were not merely replacements, they were a new layer of dialogue, using the abstract beauty of Arabic script to express the infinite nature of God, just as the Byzantines had used the floating dome. For hundreds of years, the building held its breath, one faith written over another in a silent, architectural truce. The modern era brought another transformation as the Hagia Sophia became a secular museum. This new identity allowed for a slow, careful peeling back of the layers. Conservators began the delicate work of removing sections of plaster, revealing the long-hidden Christian mosaics beneath. The most stunning of these is the Deci's mosaic in the South Gallery, depicting a hauntingly compassionate Christ flanked by the Virgin Mary and John the Baptist. To stand in the building today is to witness a profound palimpsest of belief. Your eye travels from the serene face of the Byzantine Christ directly to the towering, powerful name of Allah in Arabic script. One does not cancel out the other, instead they exist in a tense, beautiful, and unresolved conversation. The Hagia Sophia does not present a single, simple message. Its hidden truth is the layering itself, a physical record of conquest, adaptation, and the enduring human desire to build a home for the divine, no matter whose God is called. Buried in silent, regimented rows, the terracotta army guards an emperor's desperate bid for immortality. This clay legion of over 8,000 soldiers, chariots, and horses was not built for the world of the living, but for the eternal dominion of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Its most powerful hidden message is one of terrifying individuality. Look into the faces of these warriors and you will not find a single duplicate. Each one possesses distinct features, a unique expression, from the subtle curve of a lip to the set of a brow. The stunning theory is that these were not products of an artist's imagination, but portraits, clay replicas of the actual, living soldiers who served in the emperor's army. This was a revolutionary declaration of power. The emperor was not just building a symbolic force, he was transplanting his entire military command, soldier by soldier, into the afterlife, ensuring his authority would be enforced by the very men who had made him supreme in life. This staggering feat of portraiture was matched by a production miracle of equal scale. To create such a vast army, the artisans employed a form of ancient mass production. The bodies were constructed from standardized parts, torsos, legs, arms, and heads, made from molds and then assembled in a sophisticated factory line system. It was the final, personal touch, the application of fine clay to shape the unique faces, hairstyles, and expressions that transformed these standardized components into individuals. This blend of efficient manufacturing and bespoke artistry reveals an empire that could command both immense resources and breathtaking artistic skill. But the emperor's paranoia did not end with a loyal army. His entire necropolis was designed as a lethal fortress for the afterlife. Historical accounts describe the main tomb, which remains sealed to this day, as a microcosm of his empire, complete with palaces, treasures, and rivers of shimmering mercury. And protecting this underground kingdom were hidden traps, including crossbows set to fire automatically at any intruder. These were not mere legends. Modern scientific surveys have confirmed unusually high concentrations of mercury in the soil above the tomb, matching the ancient descriptions. The message of these unseen mechanisms was clear. The emperor's rest was not to be disturbed. His power was to extend unchallenged for all eternity. This leaves us with history's ultimate archaeological standoff. The unexcavated central tomb holds the final, definitive secret of Qin Shi Huang's quest for eternal rule. Do its chambers contain the untold treasures of a unified China, or are they a toxic, booby-trapped death trap, a final, deadly warning from a man who sought to conquer even death itself? The silent, unique faces of his terracotta soldiers hold their tongues, standing guard over a mystery we dare not yet unlock. From the silent desert sands to the heart of the jungle, these 25 monuments have revealed themselves as humanity's grandest library. They are not inert stone and cold mortar, but living repositories of our collective soul. Each one is a time capsule, preserving the fears, dreams, and genius of the people who shaped it. They are scientific instruments of breathtaking precision, calendars that track the cosmos, and resonant chambers designed to harmonize with the very energy of the earth. They are complex narratives telling stories of love, power, survival, and conquest in a language of architecture, astronomy, and hidden symbols. This journey proves that history is not a dusty, closed book. It is a vibrant, living puzzle, an ongoing conversation with our ancestors, and every cracked code and newly discovered chamber adds another piece to the grand mosaic of who we are. The next time you stand before an ancient structure, whether it is a local stone circle or a world-famous temple, pause for a moment, look past its beauty and ask the questions we have learned to ask. Whose hands carved this? What knowledge were they desperate to preserve? What story does this stone long to tell? The world is filled with whispers from the past, waiting only for someone who is willing to listen. We would love to hear which of these historical mysteries captured your imagination. Share your favorite enigma in the comments below, and if you're ready to unlock more of our world's deepest secrets, be sure to subscribe and join us on the next journey into the unknown.